Hi, everyone. I'm here with Ben Gilsdorf, a senior at Amherst, and many of you know Ben. Ben has taken the lead on getting out the vote among Amherst students. He is a double major in Russian and history, writing a thesis, actually, on voting rights in Hawaii. And his passion and his energy and dedication are a great thing for us all. It's so important to vote. Ben, thank you for what you're doing. Thanks for being here. Tell us why this is so important.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Biddy, for having this conversation with me. I think it's really important for a lot of reasons that Amherst students are critically engaged with the larger society. I think that's one of the fundamental values of the liberal arts. And in America today, I think voting and exercising our civic duty is something that is sort of the bare minimum we can do to make sure that our voice is heard. And that the values that we embody as Amherst students can be represented on a national level.
The bare minimum, and yet so strikingly crucial.
I think, yeah, it's the bare minimum we can do, but in many ways, it's very difficult for us to do that bare minimum, especially for students who are on campus. It's not as simple as just going to your local polling place and standing in line. There's a lot of requesting ballots, mailing in forms. I know some students have had to photocopy ID forms in order to get their ballot. So it can be an incredibly complex process. And that's why AC Votes is here, because we want every student, regardless of where they come from or who they are, to be able to exercise their right.
Yes, we do. We want every student, we want every person to vote. And we want students to vote regardless of whether you're currently on campus, whether you're learning remotely at your permanent, perhaps family home, or living somewhere else with friends. Please vote. Tell me about Amherst Votes and what students should be doing right now.
Yeah, so AC Votes was started in 2018 to fix some pretty poor turnout numbers we'd had from the 2014 midterms. Only 9.5% of Amherst students cast a ballot. I sort of saw that number and was very struck by it and figured that we needed to have all the help we can get because 9.5% isn't nearly good enough for an institution whose students care as much about the greater world around us as Amherst students do. And that's when I really learned how difficult it can be for college students to vote, especially for students who go to schools like Amherst where most students aren't from the surrounding community. They can't go vote in person. They need to request an absentee ballot. It's an incredibly tricky process, and I wanted to help make it as easy as possible for students so that they could do their civic duty while also taking their classes and doing extracurricular activities. The 5th was the first big round of deadlines for registering to vote. States like Florida and Texas had their voter registration deadlines on Monday. So we're really hoping that all students have registered to vote, and we now are really focusing our efforts on making sure students have requested absentee ballots. But the next phase is going to be making sure that students check their mailboxes to make sure they've received their absentee ballots. We don't want anyone getting a ballot, forgetting to check their mailbox and letting it sit there. And then we're going to be really pressing students to make sure that they actually return the ballots. You can register to vote, you can request your absentee ballot, all of those are good things, but if you don't turn it in the end, your voice doesn't get heard. And we don't want anyone slipping up and forgetting to do the final step.
Definitely. So please, everyone, reach out to AC Votes. And Ben, tell me before we close, why voting this year is so important in your view?
Yeah, I think a lot of people tend to emphasize the presidential election as like the most important thing. But I think a lot of the different social movements we've seen this year have emphasized why it's so important to vote on local levels. A lot of the policy decisions that were being discussed during the Black Lives Matter protests this summer tied directly back to elections for local school board, for district attorney. And those are elections locally that can make a lot of difference in our communities. And so I think we need to embody the mantra of think globally, act locally when we vote, and not just vote for the president or for elected office at a federal level, but also be very cognizant about the local leaders we elect, because oftentimes they can affect a lot more change than the federal representatives that we choose.
Well, Ben, thank you so much again for taking the lead on AC Votes. And I hope everyone out there will do exactly what you've asked them to do. And if there's confusion or barriers to anyone's voting, that they'll be in touch.
Yes. Yeah, thank you so much for taking the time as well. And if anyone has any questions, they can always email us at acvotes@amherst.edu.